Hey everybody, how you doing? This is Matt and it is Bloodthirsty Thursday. First and foremost, before I get on to anything, I do want to wish each and every one of you a great morning, evening, dawn, day, or dusk, all that lovely stuff, because life really is too short as is. Please do me a favor and like, share, and subscribe. I love seeing each and every one of you every Monday through Friday, permitting my schedule and of course major holidays. I am pondering of going to just Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for my reviews. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on that? And then also, one last thing. Check out the information in the description box for a bigger bite of the daily film, such as your brief synopsis, your starring cast, your director, runtime of the cut I am watching, along with an MPAA rating, if there is one that exists. Some trivia, if I find anything worthwhile of mentioning, and then of course a link for either a trailer or a scene from the movie itself, which is always nice to kind of get a little bit of a bigger bite on that, because sometimes it's hard to decide if you want to check out a copy or check it out and buy it or rent it or however it is you happen to see this film. It is definitely one for the ages, one that you will never ever forget. Good, bad, or ugly review on it, you definitely will not forget this film. I will not forget it for the rest of my life, because it has that much of an impact. It's very a hard watch visually. You really have to focus 100% of your time on the screen, and you can't let anything distract you. All right, before I get on to anything else, for as far as the movie, this one came out back in 1990, or at least that's what the back of the box lists. IMDb lists it as 1989, and is none other than Elias's. Yeah, I'm not going to pronounce his last name. I don't want to murder it, but it is Mr. Elias. His film called named Begotten. It is a very interesting. Just crazy thrill ride. It's 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 a hard watch for people that can't that don't have enough patience. You have to really have an artistic bone, and you really have to like artistic films to really get into this one, because this one is about as artistic as you get. It is very artsy, super artsy. But before I get on to any of that, I want to tell you a little bit about the release I got here. This one is, I forget who released this one. I can't read that little name, but either way, this is one of the first releases of it on DVD. I do remember this one back on the VHS days. Whoops, I forgot the DVD up in the player upstairs, but it is a standard issue pressed DVD, and you get this little booklet in here that has a nice little essay about Begotten. It's one of those things. I will eventually read that before I get on to watching it again, because sometimes it's nice to have an outsider's view on something, especially as insane as this one is. It's because this one can mean a lot. Just like, I don't think this one will mean the same to each and every viewer. It definitely, I mean, it has the same outlying storyline, the storyline going on, but its representation and its interpretation will be much different between person to person. Especially on your level of how artistic you want to go. I would say I'm pretty open-minded to almost all kind of arts. I'm not really big on the scat stuff, but I know it exists. I've seen some of it, but either way, yesterday's is an interesting one. It definitely had a very artistic vibe that touches levels that others can't touch, and this one definitely is right alongside that. I was torn between which one of them I wanted to review first, was Vomit Gore or this one. I think this one is the better film out of the two as far as a technical ability goes, at least. On a range of gosh, it's tough to really describe this one. On a range of absurdity, this was just so much absurdity going on in this one. It's crazy. As far as the release goes, like I said, you got the souvenir booklet, no reversible artwork, standard issue press DVD. It's got a still gallery, scene access, original trailer, and yeah, that's it. Not a lot going on for as far as special features for this one goes. I know there's another release out there on DVD. It's a newer release. I'm not sure as far as special features go on that one, or as far as the quality on that one. All I know is this is one of the earlier releases for it on DVD. Definitely one of the early ones. Probably not first run, but early. Now, onto the movie itself. What the hell is this movie even about? I don't know. No, I'm kidding with you. It's about the death of a godlike creature, being that is giving birth to essentially Mother Nature, the Mother Earth character, in a very violent way that it happens. Our godlike thing, as they say on, which, by the way, if you read the synopsis for this in my description box, it's very hard to make sense. There's a lot of deciphering going on in there, but that is exactly word for word the description of the movie on the back of the box. So keep that in mind if it doesn't make any sense, because it really, like, calling everything things, and they weren't beings or humans or creatures. They were just things, as they're stated as. These things, they, like I said, these things do different things. There's three separate stories in it. The first one is the birthing of Mother Earth and everything that goes on with that. And this imagery you see right here is from the very first scene itself, in which our godlike creature, or godlike thing, is slicing itself up with a straight razor blade, cutting themselves very deeply and ripping flesh off of the not the genital area, but the abdominal area, and it's a little hard to decipher, because the graininess, the grain of the stock on the film is it's so, like, oversaturated or something. I would say it's visually, it's very hard to keep your eyes focused on things, because it's not only is the fact that there's no dialogue in this movie, but you got to go on with a storyline that you don't know right or left, up or down. You don't know which direction you're rolling in, and it's a thrill ride. And the second story rolls on into the what is the second story? The torturing of Jesus himself. It's supposed to be the torturing part of his life, being that going through the crucifixion and all that stuff, and being basically just ran through the ringer and ripped to shreds by these village things, as they are described as. Everything is a thing, not a person. Just keep that in mind. These things, they bash him on the head. They cut out his guts and things like that. So it gets pretty graphic. And then you go on to, what's the third story? The death of Golgotha, death on Jesus' torture and death. It's about his death. that's one of those things that it's got a different interpretation for everyone. It's a giant metaphor within a metaphor within a metaphor. It's a puzzle within an enigma, within a riddle, within just a crazy story. So approach this one with caution, guys. It's kind of a nauseating experience. I'm not gonna lie, because not just because of the story, the content, the gore of it, which the gore is very artistically done. Everything is super artistic about this. It never. It's just so shocking on so many levels that it'll, like I said earlier, it's one for the ages, and it will stick with you for the rest of your life. And whether it be the story, the gore, or the way it's filmed, or that the way the performers are acting, because it's a theater troupe that worked with Elias on a previous production. I forget what the name of it was. It's a theater production. He did another movie or another film that I want to see that out of his early stuff. It looks very interesting. It's like Den of the Crystal Birds or something like that. It looks very interesting. And this guy did eventually what he went on to do is Shadow of the Vampire with Willem Dafoe and John Malkovich and so on and so on, which is an amazing movie on its own. I would say that's a film. It's an amazing film of its own. So the guy is no slouch when it comes to being able to handle a camera and being able to frame up shots and to get his performers to do exactly what he wants, or at least within the parameters of what he's looking for. Because something tells me that Elias probably was very diligent on what he wanted, stuck to his guns, and had a true vision of what he wanted to see. Because when I was reading this, to produce 1 minute of film, it took 10 hours to do 1 minute of film. So it took them a total of 8 months to do this 72 hour, 72 hours, not, or hour and 18 minutes, whatever, 78 minutes, whatever. My mind is off in crazy land because of this movie. Still, it's just rocked. But like I said, it took them a long ass time to make this film, and you can really see the painstaking, arduous work that they really put into this. And I want to have some of my extreme viewers, ones that liked the vomit gore films and haven't checked out Begotten, do yourself a favor and give this one a whirl. I have a feeling you might dig it. You might enjoy what's going on here. Now, as far as anything would go on ratings, I would say on a technical ability, this is a masterpiece. The acting or the performing, I want to call it fits in with it perfectly. Even though it's very stuttery and very jerky, and it kind of feels just like robotic in ways. It's like it's so it just rocks you to the core. It's crazy how people can maneuver and do things with their body and make you feel a certain way within a grain of a film without even having a one word of dialogue make you feel uneasy. That's a pretty good feat to accomplish, in my opinion. Now, as far as entertainment goes, it does suffer from entertainment value because it is so freaking slow. Like I'm not gonna lie, the first time I watched this film, like years ago, I watched it. I was very, very drunk, and I fell asleep. I'm not gonna lie. And the second time I watched it, I was sober. Got distracted and couldn't keep my eyes on it. Now the third viewing I was able to succeed and give you somewhat of an idea of what I saw or what I think I saw. Because, like I said before, this is a metaphor within a metaphor within a metaphor. So I'm going to probably say this is like a 7 out of 10 in my opinion. Like maybe it could be a 6 depending on who you watch this with, because this is one you either are going to have to watch alone or you have to watch with very like-minded people, because this is going to put a lot of people off. Not because of not just the content, but the way it's filmed. They are either not going to get it, or B, they just won't like it in general. Which overall, I feel that means they don't get it. So that is overall my opinion of why most people don't like it. They don't get what's going on in the overall film. Much like yesterday's film, a lot of people have a hard time with the Lucifer Valentine vomit gore stuff, even though I understand what they are, and I feel like if more people understood what they were, maybe do a little research before you go rolling into something as crazy as the vomit gore films or as Begotten. Do yourself a little favor and definitely research before you go in. Try to do as much without looking at pictures from the movie itself. Try to get yourself an idea of what you're getting yourself into. One of my favorite things to do is when I'm on IMDb or Rotten Tomatoes, I just look at what their description says and I leave it at that. So I go through everybody's descriptions, and that helps me to get a kind of a good judgment of what I'm about to get myself into. And I would say 7 out of 10 times the way my theory works, the way the way I do things, I tend to like it or agree or disagree, whatever it is that the general consensus is doing. I tend to I would say about 70% of the time I would agree. So 7 out of 10, good. Great, wonderful. Not sure what I'm gonna do tomorrow. I think I might. I'm not gonna do anything as crazy as the last 2 days. My mind's frazzled enough for the week. I need something a little more lighthearted, or something with a little more substance to it, at least. Something that is not so artistic that I am like scratching my head and rewinding and replaying, rewinding and replaying, rewinding and replaying until I finally get what I'm watching. Alright, guys. Love your faces as usual. And as always, see you tomorrow.